What up, outsiders? Do you like to dance? I really do. And it got me thinking, where did dance TV go? I'm not talking about competition shows or celebrity ballroom. I mean, like real dance shows. Soul Train, American Bandstand, Top of the Pops, Solid Gold. Places where everyday people dance to the top 100 live on television, while the rest of us danced along in our living rooms or sometimes while doing chores on a Saturday afternoon. As a pop culture archivist working on my next book, but they did that on television, Queer Dispatches from the late 20th Century. I've been deep in the archives, posting Fly Girls, Rosie Perez on Soul Train, Club MTV.
Yeah, welcome once again to another edition of Club MTV Downtown Julie Brown. It's the place to be. CNC Music Factory, Crystal Waters, KLF, just some of the music you'll be hearing today. But right now, we're going to get down with a little bit of Rhythm Syndicate. Are we ready to party, guys? We are just in the yin-yang mood, aren't we? So let's get down with passion. Let's do it.
And that's how I found a whole underground of internet archivists doing public service level scholarship. Today's guest, Jerome Graham, the mastermind behind the Club MTV fan page. We talk about the difference between Club MTV and The Grind and Downtown Julie Brown versus The Real Worlds and The Grind's Eric Nice. And we talk about why these shows still matter. So let's get into it.
Welcome to Outsider In, a podcast where outliers create the culture and a space where internet archivists are treated like scholars. Today I have Jerome, the creator and uh, I don't know, executive producer, I want to say almost of the Club MTV's own fan page, and among other things. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Wow, you made it sound so important.
It is. What you do is incredible. What you do is incredible. It's a public service. It is a scholarship, and it's just a ton of fun to watch every day. Just getting into it, first of all, can you explain to listeners what Club MTV was?
Club MTV. Okay. So it was MTV's kind of first foray into the dance show market. And it aired pretty much daily, Monday to Friday. I think they would rerun on Saturdays. It's a bunch of kids and teens, young adults dancing in the Palladium, which was like a famous nightclub in Manhattan at the time, hosted by Downtown Julie Brown, just the latest music, hottest clothes. It was a good time, and I fell in love with it right away. Yeah.
What was it about the show that made you fall so hard?
I wanna say it was the music. The first clip of it I saw had the Pet Shop Boys on as a musical guest. I'm like a diehard, lifelong Pet Shop Boys fan, so that drew me in right away. And then seeing Julie interview them as well, like, I've got a lot of, Black Brits in my family on my dad's side. So that kind of made it feel almost like home because just the accent and all of that, I was like, "Oh, this is different."
I love that. I can totally relate to what you just said because I'm a dual citizen in England. I was born there, Air
"Oh,
Force.
nice."
Yeah. And but my grandma stayed there my whole life. And so when I would hear when I hear Julie Brown, when I hear Moni Love, first of all,
Mhm.
when I would hear her rap and then heard her speak, I was like, wait, what? And then I was
Right.
like, oh, she feels like home. Nina Cherry would always
Mhm.
give me that vibe, Sade, that it felt like family. I know exactly what you're talking about. When did you start doing archival work? Were you recording it back in the day, or are you having to go back and source all of this stuff out nowadays?
God, I was having to go back and source everything. So I started initially on Facebook maybe 17 years ago. I think I just got like one of those anniversary things that popped up. So
Hmm.
it was about 17 years. At that point, there really wasn't a ton online about the show, maybe a couple of YouTube clips, and that was kind of it. A couple of like message board discussions, but there wasn't much else out there. So I initially started the Facebook page just to see if anyone had anything. Are there other fans out there? Do you have any pics or videos of the show? And then from there, the dancers joined the page and started to interact and share their stories. And eventually that led to like a YouTube channel and the Instagram page. So a couple of in-person parties and events. So it's been interesting. Yeah.
Have you or do you feel like a completionist? Like, do you know how many episodes of the show there were? Total?
Um, no, there's a number on Wikipedia that I have no idea where they got that from. Yeah, no, I'm trying to kind of clear that up. I'd like to be a completionist, but there isn't access to everything. I
Mhm.
find that MTV isn't super precious about their archives for certain shows. And for whatever reason, Club MTV seems to kind of be one of those where it's like they have a bunch of stuff, but they don't have a bunch of stuff, and there's kind of no care to kind of complete that. So,
What have been your main sources? Like, do you use the Internet Archive a lot?
um, I do. I add a lot of stuff to Internet Archive that I've got, reaching out to different collectors. Some of the dancers as well that have taped things have like sent me, boxes of VHS tapes to digitize and stuff like that. Yeah, trying to find it from anywhere I can.
What do you think happened to the dance show in general? Like, there used to be so many examples of dance shows on TV, but like, what do you think happened?
There were so many. I want to say TikTok, but it ended way before that.
Hmm.
Yeah, 'cause I want to say, gosh, the last kind of big dance show, at least in like a North American sense, was Soul Train, because
That's
that
right.
kind of ran until like maybe like '05, '06.
Shamar Moore. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's kind of on fumes by then.
Where
But yeah, I think the format kind of fell out of favor. I don't know why.
yeah,
Yeah.
me either. And it's showed up in different ways, like, So You Think You Can Dance or Dancing with the Stars, but it's more in the solo lane, less of a sort of
Mhm.
communal club dance show. And I'm mourning it. I'm just wondering, and plus the folks that I follow on Instagram often are folks like you or New Dance Show or
Yes.
like those like great sort of like I mean, some of them can be grittier than others. Like I only go back for Soul Train in the '80s and maybe early '90s,
Okay.
but not not the later Shamar Moore years. So there's something in there where it's like, no offense, Shamar, but there's there's something in there where it's like I'm grieving it, but it still holds up for me. Yet there isn't a broader audience for it. So I'm just trying to figure out what happened and how we can get it back. Okay, so you said you talked to some of the dancers. Have you talked to Julie Brown?
I have, surprisingly. Julie's the best. She's been so warm. Like, she's no reason to be. Like, who am I ultimately? But
You said there's no reason for her to be nice.
I mean, grand scheme of things, but
Yeah,
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 she's been super cool. Yeah.
yeah. Um, but have you found a community of archivists out there on the internet? For instance, I kind of found your work through Instagram, people who have been doing the good work like you, because it really is a public service. Have you found other pages that you're interested in that do similar work, not necessarily with dance shows, but pop culture archives in general?
My gosh, definitely. Yeah, I do have like a little community of similar pages that I definitely interact with a ton. The guys over at Tunes, the podcast Tunes, they've got a really cool page. Diego and Nick. I think Nick also runs Soul Train fans, which is a great page I follow. I love again a lot of the late 80s, early 90s Soul Train stuff is my sweet spot too. So whenever they post anything, um, Lick Neon, who's out of the UK, 80s pop culture for life is another great one. I do. I keep up with a lot of them, and we talk and gossip a little bit.
Awesome. So Club MTV had dance. It had sort of spliced with music videos, but it also had some live performances, right?
Oh yeah.
Um, what are some of your favorite live performances that hit the show?
Ooh, that's fun. I think a great, like, little thing is whenever you would get live vocals, because that was so rare on not just that show, but just dance shows, particularly of that time, you were expecting a lip sync performance. That's just
Hmm.
what that called for. So Sybil was a great one. She, came on, did Don't Make Me Over, live vocals. That was fun. And Vogue, Hold On, whenever you got a chance to hear them really blow, that was amazing. I love like the hip hop performances too. LL was always fun when he would come on, MC Hammer, and then you've got like the divas of the day, like your Jody Watleys, Kathy Dennis, Taylor Dane. That whole scene was fun. Then you've got like your kind of more infamous, I guess, performances that maybe kind of went a little left. And that's always fun too, like the Chili Peppers at like spring break.
Wait, what happened with the Chili Peppers?
They got a little too out of control with like sort of crowd interaction. So like they jumped in the crowd and like picked a girl up and they were like running around with her and they ended up getting arrested because I guess she didn't want to be picked up. So it was like a whole thing. Like the punk band, the Dead Milkmen, who came on and they kind of like were throwing things into the crowd, and then Julie came up to do like the post performance interview and they like handcuffed her and it was like a mess. So those are always pretty cool. Yeah.
Do you see the your archive work or the profiles going past what you're doing now? Like, do you have any idea of what you want to do with it in the future?
I do. At one point, I had a podcast going where I would interview the dancers and kind of get their thoughts on the show. I would like to pick that back up. As well, we've done a couple of events. I think that might be something we kind of look to do more of, maybe in the new year. So we'll see. Kind of gather everyone together, throw a big party. Seemed to go over really well the past couple of times we did that. So
Where did you do that in Toronto?
we did the first one we did was in New York. It was in Central Park, which was a lot of fun. We kind of teamed up with Nile Rodgers and I know. Yeah, he's working with this organization, Disco Oasis, that does like these big like roller disco skating parties. They like set up in a city in the summer and do like a residency. So myself, and one of the dancers, Janelle, she kind of really spearheaded this, like reached out to them, just like, can we have one of the nights and just do it as like a Club MTV thing on like the anniversary of the launch? And they were like, of course you can. And so we did. Yeah. We had like a bunch of the dancers, like a dozen of them came through and it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Oh my God, if you do that again, please let me know.
Oh, 100%.
My God, that sounds like a dream come true. Oh,
That was
that's
a
amazing.
great time. Yeah.
Wow. Who are some of the dancers that stand out in your mind? Like, if folks don't know anything about why the dancing on that show was so great, why? Who are some of the dancers on there, and personality wise, and yeah, what were they doing? What kind of dancing were they doing?
So as far as like dancing and dancers are more like notable people, because like if you think about like Soul Train, you have like your list of like Rerun and Shabadoo and Jody Watley and Jeffrey Daniel, the kind
Rosie Perez.
Rosie Perez. Gosh, if you want to look at actors, Vivica Fox got her start there, Carmen Electra, Affian Crockett. Like it's a whole thing. There's definitely a crop of dancers from Club MTV that kind of really use that platform and springboarded off into other things. Darren Henson comes to mind right away, from acting, but just what he means to the dance world.
Mhm.
He was like the go-to for like that whole late 90s, early 2000s teen pop choreography, Britney, NSYNC, the Spice Girls when they were a quartet. Like he was choreographing everyone. And he, was an OG Club MTV dancer like from day one. So Anastasia comes to mind too. She's sort of more known for singing now, but she was a lot of fun to watch dance on the show. Big personality. She would usually be pretty comedic with her dancing, just kind of big, over the top. Michelle Visage started out dancing on the show. Essence Atkins, Black sitcom royalty, was a Club
Mhm.
MTV dancer. Hill Harper was a Club MTV dancer. Justin Chambers, fucking Alex Karev, Grey's Anatomy, did a stint
God.
on the show. And I mean, we can't talk about Club MTV without talking about Camille, who was like, to club what I would say Cheryl's song or someone like that was to Soul Train, where it's
Mhm.
like outside of Dawn, you kind of have like your people that you immediately recognize when you think about Soul Train. I think for a lot of people, she kind of was that for Club MTV, especially
Mhm.
because she was there, one of like a few that was there for the entire run of the show. And they would cycle people in and out constantly, but she was kind of a consistent near 5-year presence there. So
What was the group Michelle Visage was in? It Takes Two.
Seduction.
Seduction. Where
Yeah.
so she Michelle Visage would show up as a dancer in the show, and then eventually Seduction played on the show, right?
Yeah, she was kind of the first to have that kind of full circle. Like in 87, she was just dancing on the show with everyone else. By the time you get to late 89 with You're My One and Only True Love, and then eventually It Takes Two and Heartbeat, she's back as a performer. It's funny. The freestyle girl group Pajama Party was kind of another example of that. They found Maria Lisa, who was dancing on the show. And when they had one of their members leave, they were just like, you'd be perfect. Come in. And she took over for that spot. So it was funny seeing that happen.
Has there ever been a documentary about the show?
There has not. No, no.
It seems important.
I would love
Um,
to make one.
I think no one better. No one better would be fit for that. Um, what is the difference between Club MTV and The Grind?
Ooh, how long do you have?
We got the whole hour. What you got?
um, there's a lot of misinformation out there about how different the shows were. It's a great cultural critic I'm a huge fan of, Dart Adams, who kind of was mentioning on Twitter at one point, like the differences he saw between the shows. And he felt like, the grind was kind of cooler. They'd play way more hip hop and R&B, way more alternative music. And it was just like they were doing everything that Club MTV couldn't.
Hmm.
Kind of take umbrage with that a little bit. um, the formats were the same for most of the run, half hour, 5 songs, and you get a mix of variety. Pretty much was consistent until the grind kind of went off the rails a little bit when Eric left, and then it kind of turned into something else. Um, but the biggest difference was just time, really. The fashion was different, but the biggest difference, and I guess no offense to him, because I think Eric is great. I love The Real World.
Hmm.
He's fun to look at. I mean, no one would say he is.
Even these days, as Guru Eric, he's still fun to look at. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and I've interacted with him. Super nice guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, very nice, very warm. He's not Julie.
No.
I think that's like the biggest difference is the hosting of the show was just a completely different vibe. I think he fit for what they were going for with the grind, maybe a little more urban, which I hate as like a
Mhm.
term. But I think with all of that baggage in that term, I think he kind of fit what they thought urban was, uh,
Yeah.
versus Julie, who kind of was a dynamic personality kind of on her own. And then you kind of stick her in there, and it's a different magic for sure.
So interesting. Just because we were talking about seduction, I've got It Takes Two stuck in my head right now, and that feels like the kind of poster child for Club MTV. But when I
Mhm.
think about the grind, Good Vibrations by Marky Mark comes to mind immediately. Like it's just
Yeah.
kind of like it's kind of that kind of split. Um, Although, to your point, you mentioned Pet Shop Boys and a slew of other bands that played on Club MTV. Red Hot Chili Peppers, they did have an alternative streak too. So I think you're right. It isn't necessarily that. It probably is the host and
Mhm.
the design of the set. Were they both at the Palladium?
They were not. The grind for much of its run, particularly like the Eric years, was just on a studio. It was the same studio where they would do like Yo and like Dial MTV and those things. They just dress it up a little different, but no, I think that did have a big impact too. Like, seeing all the screens and like the Palladium and all of that behind them. It's the same set that you would see when you tune in and see whatever else was on MTV. So,
But what do you think about the death of MTV? How do you feel about that?
I mean, it's a long time coming. I'm not surprised. They are quick to kind of latch on to whatever is working, and reality worked.
Hmm.
That's what they did. I think Julie kind of put it best when she recorded a video for an online Twitch DJ party we threw a couple of years back. And she just said, they latched on to the reality train wreck, but they made it work. That's what MTV does, you know? And you can see that happening. It was a trend for them, even going back to the launch of Club MTV. They were having issues with advertising. When you're primarily just hosting blocks of music videos, how do you bring that to advertisers and get ad dollars? When it's people are tuning in for 3 minutes to see a Michael Jackson video, and then maybe they're tuning back out and then popping back in for Bon Jovi. It's like there's nothing consistent to show over like a period of time. And that's when they decided to start doing programming, like making their own show so they could bring that to advertisers. That's when you get like 120 minutes and club and Headbangers Ball and Yo MTV Raps and Remote Control, so they could
Hmm.
show them, "We can make half-hour television, and now you can, like, buy ads and it be meaningful." So, that just kind of snowballed into reality shows, and I get it. It sucks,
Yeah.
but I get it.
Yeah, because everything you just named, I was in love with. I mean, and also just MTV News as a news source for young people.
100%.
Phenomenal, like,
Yeah.
phenomenal. I learned so much, even though it was MTV, or especially maybe because it was MTV, it felt so credible to me. I mean, the names, Kurt Loder. I mean, I did an interview. I don't know if you guys get, any WNYC programming or NPR programming in Canada, but,
Mhm. Yeah.
all of it with Alison Stewart, who used to be an
Oh,
MTV
of
News
course.
anchor. I did her show, and I had such reverence for her, and she and I had a blast, and I think it's because I thought I knew her along so
Allison and, like, Tabitha Soren
short.
and
Mhm,
yeah,
mhm,
all of these personalities who felt credible, but cool at the same time.
and are still doing really, important journalism these days.
Mhm.
Is it really, like, labor intensive, the work that you do to keep these profiles up? Because it seems like a lot of work. I already know what it takes a little bit to edit these videos, get them out, like, h how much time are you putting into this?
I've got it pretty much down to a science, so it's not that much work now. Paramount kind of killed our YouTube channel, so I don't have to worry about that now, so I guess in that way, I guess, a blessing in disguise, that kind of time I don't have to kind of put in. Uh, but I edit, clips down. So I usually will try to have at least 5 on standby. I post 3 a day on the Instagram page. But then with copyright, I like to have a couple backups just in case something can't go. So, yeah, just have them ready the night before and roll them out the next day, and yeah, that's my routine.
What is it like having to sort of circumvent copyright issues? Like, what is it? Is there any rhyme or reason to what they flag? And like,
It's so arbitrary, really. It just depends. A lot of it's like the publisher, Universal decides to buy a certain catalog, and all of a sudden they'll have issues. I find that now, I don't know if it recently changed hands, but Jodie Watley's music, I can't post her stuff now because Universal.
yeah, maybe it's because now the internet's starting to pay attention to how fucking amazing she is and was, and like maybe there's
Mhm.
starting to be public interest. But I've noticed the same thing. I've been some of my best clips are heard like working it out in a warehouse somewhere on a in a music
Exactly.
video, and then the next thing
Yeah.
I know, gone. Yeah.
And I'd post more. Like, she was one of those artists that was really kind of core to Club MTV.
Hmm.
And yeah, I can't kind of post her stuff now. I went through that a lot with like Salt and Peppa, but I'm on the other side of that now, but they're kind of right in the middle of their battle against Universal. So
Did you see the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction
I
ceremony?
did. I love that they brought that up in their speech. That was great.
I just cried their whole performance. I just love them so much. Love them
Oh,
so
they're
so much.
amazing. Yeah.
And Jodie Watley kind of reminds me of Downtown Julie Brown in a way. They kind of have the same silhouette, skirts, the long
Big
hair.
skirts, hoop earrings.
Mhm.
Yeah, sure. Totally.
All right, so let's do a little bit of a lightning round. I'm just gonna name some things, and I want you to just react in whatever way you want to. Okay.
Let's do it.
All right. Okay. New Jack Swing.
A workout.
Tell me about right. Oh, that is so true.
A
That is so
workout.
true.
Dancing hard.
Dancing hard. I look at like TikTok and people doing like a hand jive, and I'm like, y'all don't know. Like if you,
No. Where are the feet? Where's the
you
movement?
where's the bottom half? You better be doing what do they call it? What the Irish jig. You better be doing a river dance under there.
Yeah,
Or it's not
exactly.
or it's not doing it. Okay, American Bandstand.
Foundational, but not for me.
Word. I mean anything Dick Clark's kind of corny. Top of the Pops.
I would say undersung, at least from the North American perspective. Yeah. Very
I would say so
foundational to me. Yeah.
I would say so too. Yeah, definitely foundational. And also hidden gems. Like the some of the stuff that they played we never would have gotten in the Soul Train or bandstand format here.
Oh,
Um
100%.
their
But that's
performances are
due to,
cool.
like, their, like, radio formatting was basically open. So if it was a hit, it was a hit. You were gonna get played on the radio and thus booked for Top of the Pops. So you would get anything. You would get metal on Top of the Pops, you would get R&B on Top of the Pops. It was anything goes, basically.
Say more about that, but first, so as opposed to North American, what's the difference between the radio format?
Um, Especially at that point, you basically had just the one major top 40 station in the UK, Radio 1. And they were literally like open. So if you were in the top 40, they were going to play you. And Top of the Pops, their booking was based off of the charts. So the number one song on the charts would be the number one song on Top of the Pops. And they would book their guests kind of accordingly. So you would get, Shalimar and, Ozzy Osbourne being played on the same show.
I love that.
Because that was in the top 40, so it wasn't sort of segmented by genre per se.
I love that. Um TRL.
TRL, I just think Carson Daly, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
For whatever that's worth, good and bad. Carson
You
too.
know, which for some reason, because he's so bland, just pushes me straight to Jennifer Love Hewitt, and then I end. Like that's it. That's just well.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
the new dance show.
Oh, fun, gritty, real. Just I love the new dance show. Just especially like black people, black music, but like a lot of like the really like proto house, early like house and techno stuff that they would play. Just really, really fresh and experimental stuff. I love it.
Again, it's such a public service. Like, just you could watch. I could sit and watch that for hours.
Mhm.
Gosh, what was I gonna say? Is there much of a pipeline between Canada and like the Midwest when it comes to music exchanges like house and like dance? Do you know?
Um, Currently or then?
Just at all? Yeah, yeah.
Um, sure, of course. We had our own kind of dance show up here too, Electric Circus, and that ran from like 88 to 2003. Very much modeled off of Club MTV as far as like down to having like an exotic host per se.
Hmm.
Yeah, so we definitely had like that pipeline. I would say it was more of like almost like a Dance Party USA meets new dance show kind of vibe. So we got like a lot of that poppy stuff, but then a lot of like the house acts, hip house that maybe wouldn't get booked on MTV would get booked here for that because they weren't necessarily the biggest names. So definitely a lot of the smaller freestyle acts would perform up here too. So mhm,
Electric Circus. I've never heard of it. I gotta check that out.
it's
You just took
fun.
you just took me back. Dance Party USA. Oh my God, I forgot about that show.
Yeah, it's not my favorite, but you know,
No, but
it's
it
cute.
existed.
It's
I
cute.
forgot. It is cute. I mean, oh, I completely forgot
Kelly
about that.
Ripa and that whole thing.
Oh
Yeah.
my God. So many people started out just coming over from Jersey and just getting on a dance show. So many
Yeah,
people started that way.
it was a thing.
Okay, a little bit, a couple more on the lightning round. Fly Girls.
Ooh, Fly Girls. Um they casted or at least scouted some of the Club MTV dancers to be Fly Girls when that was in development. So that was kind of interesting to see them put that together. But yeah, big fan of the Fly Girls and Rosie and that whole thing.
Nice. Janet Jackson.
Love, icon. Come on now.
I'm just, not even, I mean, there's not even a yay or nay. It's just like, it's like a Rorschach. It's like an ink blot. What do you think?
Yeah.
Um,
Oh,
okay. Madonna.
oh my God. I mean, same answer. Madonna and Janet are like my any given day 1A, 1B when it comes to music and pop and dance and videos. I mean, my taste in music and all of that, they're like the sun and the moon for me.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, what, come on now, poet. What do you think the future is of the music video? Have you noticed any trends about it? Like, it doesn't seem like it's completely died out yet. Music television has died out.
Music videos. I think they had their Spotify and streaming moment way earlier. You know, it's still around, still a thing, but they're so devalued because you can just get them whenever you want them. I
Mm,
think there's something about that convenience that leads to them being so much more disposable now. You know, it's fun when you can see someone get a budget to do a great video, and that still happens now every so often, but videos are just kinda have to do them, but you can tell that they just kinda have to do them.
yeah, I know. Like nobody. Speaking of like not just New Jack Swing, but the idea of like music video choreography, I feel like I haven't gotten it, and we've sort of swapped out that like intense choreographed, paid for choreography practice
Hmm.
over months, minus except for, well, I mean, even Beyonce doesn't do it in music videos anymore. She only does it in live performances.
Yeah.
Um, but we've swapped that out for TikTok hand drives. So like a artist might start a dance craze, but where are their dancers, working hard for a week trying to learn this routine and putting it in context? Like I don't see it anymore.
There's no incentive to do that at this
Yeah.
point. It
And
just
companies probably
disappointing.
don't pay for it anymore.
No. Oh God, no.
Um, do you go out dancing?
I do. I do. I love to dance.
Well, this is going to be our New Year's episode. Do you have any New Year's dance plans or plans in general?
I'm kind of narrowing it down. There are a couple of big like parties happening on New Year's Eve in Toronto, kind of figuring out what kind of vibe I want for the night. But yeah, I'll be out there on the dance floor for sure.
Awesome. So thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. It was nice talking to you.
Yeah, of course. It's nice to finally meet you, I guess, virtually.
Thank you so much. Bye.
And that's our episode. I want to thank Jerome from Club MTV fan page. He is the best and truly doing a public service. What a perfect way to hit the midpoint of the season. I want to thank Jerome. I want to thank you for sticking in there with us. Some really exciting ones coming up in the spring. We have Yadika Starfield, who is a well known abstract expressionist Native American artist. Just brilliant. I'm also going to do an Oscar roundup with some very special friends of mine, some film aficionados here in New York City, and lots more. It's going to be fun. Thank you to my producer Nina Riddle. This show does not move without her. And if you caught the new theme song woven into this episode, that's courtesy of our composer, Todd Mazierski. Todd, thank you for helping us evolve the sound of Outsider In. I love the new theme song. All right, Outsiders. I'm Ricky Tucker, and we're just getting started. Bye.